Welcome back to the Praying and Slaying Podcast, a Light the Fire Outdoors production. It's Turkey Take Care season again, and on this episode, Aaron and Jeremy reflect on old times at the Skate Palace. The guys share their first ever turkey hunting stories, and Jeremy gets Aaron to admit that it's okay to drink seltzer and take a Jake over a Tom. And with that, let's jump into the episode.
So anyways, yeah, that's how my day's going, but
Good. Well,
I'll
tell you what, hey, welcome to the outdoors industry.
right. Yeah.
It's a little bit like
let's
the
talk
prices.
turkey hunting, doggone it.
That's what we came here to do. Yeah, we just had a full podcast episode about the ins and outs of the outdoors industry. And,
yeah, we don't need
we'll
to put any of that on the podcast.
Yeah. No, for sure.
That'd cost you and I both our jobs, probably.
Oh, 100%.
Or at least
we could. That's the beauty of editing, though. Yeah, we could go on and like
beep out
leap
the
over
names
names and yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Those people don't know exactly what I'm talking about today. If they even listen to it, they're probably like, screw that guy.
Oh, 100%. They know who it is. Yeah. No, that's
shoot.
It's crazy. It's a crazy time for sure. I mean, outdoors industry stuff, dude, what you deal with, for those of you just now tuning in, because we probably just cut the edit to start now. The Tacticam product line is about to expand here very shortly, and we're very excited about what's coming out. So anyway, we've had some ins and outs with Jeremy getting broke into his new team director position with a brand new product launch, and that never goes quite as smooth as anyone would hope it would. And it's just a product of technology, people, and excitement that kind of goes into that. So anyway,
yeah, but would you think that phase one actually went smoother than phase two of the product launch? That's the part that blows my mind. I got more questions this morning than I did a week ago.
Well, here's why. Anyway, again, Tacticam's launching a new product. We're not going to say a whole lot about it, but it's pretty darn cool. We launched the Reveal line last year, and we're gearing up for the 2021 edition of that excitement. So first year on the market, number one selling trail camera on the market. So pretty awesome product line. And we got some cool new stuff coming this year, gearing up to head out the door. So anyway, the team guys and gals are gearing to get theirs and, at least get their stuff going so they can start getting orders in the system and whatnot. But it always results in a ton of questions. So to answer your question, the reason you got less questions on the first run is because they could get less product. So there was like, hey, get your name on this board. Here's what you get for getting your name on this board. And that's it. Now that you open it up with a few like wiggle room options and hey, you can get multiples and you can do this and that. It's like, it doesn't surprise me because guys are going to freak out now because you're going to get double hammered because a lot of the questions you're getting might be from people who just missed out on the first run. And now they're like, I'm panicking. I have to get in on this one because I totally missed the first one.
The thing is, though, these instructions have been posted since day one. That's what blows my mind is all the information was there a week ago. So if they had questions, they could have asked a week ago and said, what about this phase? And then also the team leaders had proofread it, and there was some questions on the team leader. So I just know for next time, even though I thought I made it 100% bulletproof and beat the dead horse.
Bulletproof, bro.
We're hashtag it's bulletproof, dude. I saw a guy asking questions about the 2.0, and I think I tagged you on a post. Yeah, or at least put hashtag it's bulletproof, bro. I know I did. And the guy's like, what? And I'm like, oh, don't worry. Inside joke.
It's bulletproof.
But yeah, that yeah, for sure. I just thought that I wouldn't wake up to 18 text messages and 4 voicemails this morning.
And 300 emails.
Yeah, on the rollout of the phase 2. I kind of expected it on phase 1 and went through it, and the other thing we did is we rolled out phase 2 at 12:01 in the morning.
True. Yeah.
Central time. So, and I was sleeping because
you should be.
I had some inside information. I knew I didn't have to get up that early.
Yeah. No, it's the only thing I can say is this will be a hashtag welcome to the Thunderdome. It's I don't care how many ways you phrase something, how many and That's just for everybody, this reference. If you want to ever find out everything that's wrong with your system, post it to a group of 600 plus people and
Yes.
think that you've covered every single base you possibly can. And I promise you put 600 brains and sets of eyes and everything else on anything you've done and think it's good, they will poke 300 holes in it and you'll have to fix 1,000 different things with it. So that's if you truly want to make a perfect anything, get it in front of as many people as possible, because someone will find something wrong with it 100% of the time.
Yeah,
that happened with me, happened with John. Now it's happening with you. I don't envy you, but I feel for you. I really do.
Well, it's really, I mean, to be honest with you, the phase 1 rollout was better than expected a little bit,
Yeah.
I thought that it might go a little worse, and it was a little bit of a flurry for questions, but all in all, we only had like 4 issues that had to go to customer service. And then once I learned how they dealt with those 4 issues, it was pretty much good after that. So,
there you go. Well, hopefully everything goes smooth for you there.
Oh yeah.
How did you ever, this is going to be totally left field here. Were you ever into rollerblading?
No, I was not.
Roller skating?
No.
Skateboarding?
Snowboarding. That's the
Okay.
closest I can.
No wheels, just the board.
If it had wheels, I mean, we had a skate palace when I was a kid, and you're probably not old enough to remember skate palaces,
I don't know what a skate palace is, but we had roller rinks. I'm imagining they're the same thing.
Yeah. I think it was, maybe the skate palace was the name of the roller rink, but yeah, it was like a roller rink where you go and you had the arcade games and the little, arena that you could go roller skating in. And I sucked at roller skating horribly, but then you had, I was pretty good at arcade games because I'm kind of a nerd, and I'd go hang out there and then ask girls out, and they tell me no.
There you go. Were you a pinball wizard?
No, I was like, the Street Fighter and basically the Mortal Kombat. What other game?
Yeah, like Sega Genesis games.
Yeah, Sega Genesis. Kick them, beat them up. The Kung Fu, I think, was the name of one.
Yeah,
the good old classics. Unless it was Nintendo, then I owned Duck Hunt because I was like, man, I can shoot.
Dude, I have an original Nintendo with Duck Hunter on it and the gun, and it, like, I don't know if it was a TV I had. I haven't tried it in years and years and years, but anyway, it's in a box for moving around. Whatever the last, I used to have it hooked up in my room, like in high school. I'd play it like just periodically with my brother, and I would have competitions with it or whatever. But one time, the last time I tried it, it was like, I don't know, for whatever, I think the TV would like kind of glitch out when I'd turn it on. So I don't know if the Nintendo finally crashed or if the game card crashed or whatever. But no, that's a fun game. So back to as fun as Street Fighter is, back to skateboarding and rollerblading and the whole nine.
Okay. Yeah.
The reason I asked that is so my office setup is like, I have to set up with a window. I hate working inside, to be honest with you. It's just like you can only take so much of the indoors when you're an outdoorsy type person. So I set up my office all the time with my computer in front of a window so I can like look outside and whatever, have a little bit of space, have the window open, whatever. But anyway, here, where I'm looking, there's a lady that rollerblades out here all the time. And I've never seen somebody rollerblade like this lady does. She can I mean, I swear she flies down the sidewalks, through parking lots, whatever. It's got to be 20 miles an hour. I bet you she could race a car. It's amazing. And she does it all the time. She goes in and out of the parking lots, like in between cars and stuff, like weaves and dives and everything else. It's pretty impressive. But brings me back to my rollerblading days back in the day when I was worried more that I was going to wreck at the end of the driveway when I hit a rock. And then you watch somebody like that and you're like, holy crap, like very, very good at their craft.
Right. Yep. Kind of like shooting turkeys.
Almost, except, we could argue if that's an easy thing or a hard thing. It depends on who you are, I guess.
And whether or not you're good at your craft or not.
Well, yeah. So before we jump in there, I got one other question for you. What beer are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Voodoo Ranger IPA.
Okay, that's a good one. A little bit heavier than I'm on. I'm trying to hit the keto kick again. I've been doing pretty good the last 2 weeks. I definitely was feeling it today a little bit yesterday. I'm anticipating over the weekend, I'm really going to feel like that initial like kick through phase. So basically you feel okay. You just kind of hit low carb again after you've been out of keto, and then you feel like crap for a few days usually because your body's like kicking over and saying, okay, I have zero sugar left to deal with. Let's start burning fat for energy. And anyway, so that would be a beer of choice for sure, but I'm drinking Corona Premier right now.
Okay.
2.6 carbs. So I'm like 10% of my way to my daily limit of carbs.
I'm kind of surprised you're not on the white
Seltzers?
claw.
Dude, White Claws, they're overrated. You'd be so
They're
proud
overrated. What?
I sent you and Jeremy
I'm
a
recording
video.
this copy.
Oh, I've
right?
got it recorded too. White Claws are overrated, man. You got to, so on the seltzer game, you got to get a little bit like, if there's a local option, by all means get the local option. So I think I sent you and Justin Wilson a video the other day of me at the grocery store. Did you get that in your text message? It was in a group message.
I don't know.
It might not have went through.
Yes.
I sent you guys a video. I've never seen so like the seltzer. Okay, so you walk into Smith's grocery store here in Great Falls.
So you actually recorded that video?
I did. Oh, here goes that girl again, dude. She's made 3 laps around base so far, and she is hauling like it's amazing. Anyway, it's impressive.
Anyway, should you do that voice again about the seltzer that was in that video? That's why I wasn't sure it was you.
Maybe I'll upload it to a linkable format, and we'll put the link in the show notes to that video of the seltzers.
That's hilarious.
No, but so basically, okay, now we can go all the way. So the bulletproof bro thing, we can make a full circle reference to this. So Justin Wilson used to be the team leader for Montana for the Tacticam team. Then it was Jeremy, and now Jeremy's moved on into a whole different role, but he also still maintains that team leader role. So Jeremy, anyway. I'm going to toot your horn again. He is right now, he's sitting in a position where he can't hit platinum, but he's the only team member to ever hit the platinum tier. And if you're on the Tacticam team, you know what that means. If you don't, basically think of the highest prestige award you could win in whatever you're doing currently with your life in any category. And that's what this is for the Tacticam team members. So Jeremy's the only person who's ever hit it. Amazing accomplishment. So we worked very hard with Justin Wilson, Jeremy, and myself to make that happen. And we were at Justin's house one time because we were getting ready to go do, what were you doing up there? A dealer event, or what was the deal? Yeah, sales event at Flaming Arrow
Archery dealer event where we like sold them out of cameras and sold them out free. I mean, we just rocked it that day.
Oh yeah. So Montana, in terms of Tacticams, is a very new territory. It's a new area. We're educating customers at this point. Not a lot of people know what Tacticam is necessarily. So when you go to dealer events, it's like really cool to have a person from Tacticam there because we're the product experts and we can tell everybody what it is. So basically we went there, with an expectation that this would go 30% as good as it did. And anyway, we sold this Flaming Arrow Archery. It is the archery shop actually in Kalispell, Montana. Sold them out of product. We sold their demo cameras. We could have sold their display if we wanted to.
No, I think absolutely we did sell the display, didn't we?
No, I didn't want to sell her video display because she got that on a promo deal. We probably could have done that. The guy that bought the last 2 cameras, I think he would have probably. No, we
sold her, but didn't we sell her
her demo unit,
her display camera?
Yes.
Demo unit?
Yeah. We had to rebox the camera she had for a demo unit and sell that.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah,
you mean the actual display that says that? Yeah,
I mean like the video display. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, anyway, so we were up there for that. We stayed the night at Justin's house. He lived just a few miles out of town, and I show up thinking, hey, we're going to have a good time. But I was doing the keto thing as John and I used to talk about on the podcast, but John does keto. I was getting into it at that time. So with keto, especially, enjoying beers like we do, you got to be kind of careful with that because one beer can be enough in some cases to kick you out of keto. You got to try to keep it under 20 carbs a day. And a lot of, craft beers, especially, or, they're running 10 to 20 carbs per beer. So
yeah, I'm sure this one's over.
Yeah. It's amazing when you start looking at labels or, nutrition charts. But anyway, so I'm on like this seltzer kick, and I go to this gas station on the way, and they have Big Sky. I don't know what it's Big Sky Brewing something, but they make Big Sky flavored seltzers.
It was
and
huckleberry flavored,
it was a
right?
huckleberry flavor. Yeah, so it was ultra
Yeah.
Montana flavored. And
Yeah.
anyway, long story short, we're sitting around talking about old Tacticam days, whatever. And the 2.0 comes up. Now, the 2.0, if you don't know, is an old metal camera. The housing on the cameras now is like a polymer or like a rubberized polymer. So they're pretty durable. They got a little bit of give to them, that kind of stuff, and definitely an upgrade from what they used to be. But the old ones were made of, machined aluminum. And legitimately, I've seen pictures of people who have, how you do this, I don't know, have shot them with birdshot. I've seen cameras get blown up with things with tannerite. I've seen all kinds of stuff, and these things just do not break. Like they're so the insert, they're bulletproof, bro, is the line of the night.
Well, so and to
And it came
rewind
from
that a little
seltzers.
bit, well, we were drinking seltzers. That had some influence, but the you had actually used the it's bulletproof, bro, in a text message to me. So
Oh, okay.
rewind before Justin Wilson was the team leader, and we were looking for a team leader for the state of Montana because Sally had quit,
Mhm.
and so I had messaged you. I'd said um, that I was interested in being a team leader, and I had this sales experience and yada yada, and I listed my cameras, and I'm like, yeah, and I've got a 2.0. And then you replied, yeah, 2.0s are great. It's bulletproof, bro. And that was like, oh, that was
Okay.
the whole
So there
text
was a
message.
backstory to it that I wasn't even
So
planning to.
yeah, so then we were out checking a trail camera with just, or no, we were checking the the trail camera on the scrape fix while we were drinking. Well, Aaron was drinking
I was
seltzers. We
drinking
were
seltzers.
drinking real beer. Justin and I were, and so we were walking back and talking about this team leader, or that I had been rejected from being a team leader at that point in time, and
Not rejected. Just you were second. You were second in line.
second in line. Yeah. No, you just did. I was a super new team member. You didn't know who the heck
That's
I
true.
was at that point
That's
in
true.
time. I mean, I'm not saying it was I just thought it was hilarious, but that, and you pulled it up on your phone because you didn't even remember it when we talked about
Yes,
it.
you're right.
And
Yeah.
obviously you had enough seltzers.
I
You
was gonna
still
say
don't remember
it
it,
shows you
but it's still,
the impact seltzers can have, which would lead me to believe that they are a real beer. In fact,
no, you take a shot of vodka and you put it in a bubbly and you've got yourself a seltzer. I have some bubbly flavored seltzer water, and if I had some vodka, I almost would make my own, but it'd be a much higher ratio of vodka
yes,
to
yeah, because they're pretty
flavored
low.
water.
And
So
now that you mention that, you can almost taste the vodka kind of flavor in them.
yeah, yeah,
Huh?
for sure. So, anyways, that's how the hashtag It's Bulletproof Bro came about.
Yes,
But
it's a beautiful story. And now
which I,
Justin Wilson left the great state of Montana back to Indiana. A bunch
yeah,
of things changed, but either way, turkey hunting. My
turkey
first
hunting.
turkey hunt ever
Yes.
was actually up at Justin's place in Montana, and I had more luck. This is in region 2 for those folks who know the region breakdown
What?
for turkeys. I had
That
more
was the
luck.
first time you ever hunted turkeys?
Turkeys in Montana, not ever.
Oh,
No, I've
okay.
hunted
I was
turkeys
like,
for a while.
yeah, well, you said you used to be able to hit turkey. So, anyways, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah. Well, so the
So first in Montana was up at Justin's trying to
yeah.
shoot the town birds.
Yep. And in region, yeah, in region 2, for whatever reason, he was sending me, pictures all the time of, birds walking through his yard, this, that, and the other, like out of season and stuff. And he's like, yeah, man, I think we could really, basically just set up right in my yard and stuff. So we get up there and we start, trying to get after them. We're hearing gobbles like all the way. Justin lives up on top of the mountain above Flathead Lake. And man, you can just hear birds hammering down basically at the bottom of the mountain. There's a town. Gosh dang it, I can't remember what the name of that town is. Anyway,
Lakeside.
Lakeside, yeah, thank you. So these birds sound like they're in Lakeside. They're gobbling back at your calls from the top of the mountain. And basically, long story short, 0 birds came in, but it was really kind of interesting. I've never seen this before, but we had a woodpecker that was following us around. And if I let out, no matter what I ripped on the turkey call, like just a generic cluck or yelp or whatever, that woodpecker would mimic out exactly what I just did on that call, but he'd do it like by pecking a tree. It was absolutely nuts. And Justin was like crying the whole time. He's like, dude, you can't call on a turkey to save your life, but this woodpecker wants to mate with you so bad. Like he just won't leave us alone.
Funny.
And then sure enough, so we drove down to Lakeside like at noon when we got tired of trying, and there are hundreds of birds in the town, like in people's yards, just strutting around. Like they live in town during the day and they roost hopefully on some ground that you can hunt at night, basically. So long story short, we didn't get any birds. There's no shortage of turkeys up there. They just all hang out in town and you can't hunt them. So, but it was a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's what I was thinking. So one of the things, actually, thank you guys for your feedback, by the way. We're starting to get some feedback rolling in on the website, getting some emails in at ltfo.com. And we had Eric Workington. He purchased a logo and he shot us a line and he just said, hey man, thanks, enjoying the podcast, enjoying what you guys are doing at Light the Fire Outdoors. He said, one thing I'd like to see, just I asked him, I said, okay, thanks for reaching out, glad you're enjoying stuff. What would you like to see us do? And he actually said, I'd like to see you guys, like you, John and Jeremy, like do a podcast to kind of introduce yourselves more to the audience. And I guess I never really realized we never really did that, like broke it down, said, hey, here's who we are, here's kind of how we got to where we are today with this stuff and that kind of thing. So anyway, I think we'll do a series on that, but it prompted me today. And I told you earlier, Jeremy, I think we should each share with turkey season here, bear season here, but turkeys are on the forefront of everybody's mind right now. I think we should each hammer a turkey story, like our very first ever turkey harvest story. Now you can get it in depth or as least in depth as you want, because I know mine is actually very short, just the way it all played out. But either way, yeah, I think we should start there. How we got into turkey hunting and our first turkey hunt, and then we'll move on to what you have coming up this weekend.
Sure. Well, so mine will probably be long because I like to tell stories, but that's all right.
Yeah, go for it, man.
But anyways, I'm kind of a rookie turkey hunter. I grew up hunting big game and stuff and bird hunting. But I really didn't kill my first turkey until 3 years ago. So
really?
Yeah.
Oh, no way. I didn't realize it was that, like you're that green into it.
Yeah, I'm one season in, I think, because I didn't make it out last year. Or maybe I'm 2 seasons in. Anyways, I don't remember. I'm 2 seasons in, but I'm not going to tell you my first year turkey hunting because I didn't know what I was doing. And all I did was drive around and never had an encounter with one hen. So that doesn't really count. So yeah, so for all intents and purposes, 3 years ago, I started turkey hunting. And the whole reason I started turkey hunting wasn't because I wanted to go turkey hunting. It was because I wanted to go bear hunting.
Okay.
So I got my buddy Dale, who I hunt with all the time. And you'll never hear him on the podcast because A, he doesn't like social media or internet or any of that stuff. And B, all he'd do is rip on me the whole time. And I don't need to put myself up to that kind of ridicule for a while. So anyways, but my buddy Dale and I've known him for, probably close to 11 or 12 years now. And we started hunting together in 2015. And it's kind of by fluke. We have a mutual friend, Lance, who Dale used to work for. And Lance and I were going to go elk hunting because I had never killed a bull elk in 2015. And so we put in for a archery tag that was fairly easy to draw at the time. It didn't have a lot of pressure, and now there's way too many people hunting it. So I'm not even going to say where it is, but somewhere in, northwestern Montana. So anyways, we're going to take and hunt for elk. And then my buddy Dale drew a sheep tag, bighorn sheep tag, once in a lifetime.
Oh, wow.
So my buddy Dale calls me up and says, hey, I know you and Lance were going to take and go this week elk hunting during the rut, right at, September 15th is when rifle sheep season opens.
Yeah.
And right around September 15th through the 21st is like prime elk rut. So So it was obviously going to overlap. So my buddy Dale said, "Hey, do you want to take and go sheep hunting with us instead? And then you guys can bring along your bow and stuff, and maybe head off elk hunting right after I kill a sheep." Because uh, at that time he said, I'm happy I got a sheep tag. It's cool, but I really want a mountain goat tag, and I just want to kill a sheep. And that someday we'll have to tell Dale's sheep story, but
Yeah.
I, that would take and make it too long. But anyways, we ended up hunting for a lot longer than expected for the sheep. So Dale said, um, "You want to come hunt elk with me? I've got a private ranch back home where I grew up. Has known the rancher since he was a kid, probably in grade school, maybe a toddler. And so he's got this pretty good spot to hunt. And so he took and invited me along to go elk hunting to get my first bull elk. And so I
Awesome.
said, sure. So we hunted together for a week in September for this elk or for the sheep, which was like my favorite hunt ever. If you guys ever get a chance to bighorn sheep hunt, do it 100%, even if you're not shooting. I mean, it is an experience like no tomorrow. It's just, I get it. I get why guys live to hunt sheep 100%.
That's
Um,
awesome.
it's just fantastic. But anyways, we took and did that, and then we started elk hunting, and then my buddy Dale, he's single. He's a couple of years younger than I am, and he spends every single weekend hunting and fishing. I
So
mean, on
ladies be warned.
yeah, he he has no interest in dating because it cuts into his hunting and fishing time 100%. I mean, if he could, and he's literally that hardcore. Like, I mean,
Wow.
last weekend he was catfishing. This weekend he's turkey hunting, and 2 weekends we're catfishing together. And it's just every single weekend he's either fishing or hunting. You get a little bit of a break when the ice isn't good enough to get on, and spring turkey hasn't started yet, but he's kind of been filling that in with catfishing this year. So I
That's
think he
awesome.
only missed one weekend from then, and then a little bit of time, uh, and well, that's about it. Because then he goes out on the lake fishing for walleye and stuff in the summertime. Um, so yeah, 100% all hunting and fishing. And so a few years ago, I was like, man, Dale, I'd really like to kill a bear. And so when I was younger, I um, I'd have opportunities elk hunting where I could have shot bears, and I just had no interest in killing a bear. And then I decided I wanted to shoot a bear, and I heard spring was better, and all my opportunities were always in the fall. So then I went out spring bear hunting a few times, and I just couldn't get it figured out on my own. And my buddy Dale kept on shooting all these bears, and
Yeah.
so finally, like four or 5 years ago, I said, Dale, I want to go spring bear hunting. And he said, well, I want to go turkey hunting. And I've got an uncle who's got a lot of acreage in eastern Montana. You've heard me talk about Uncle Chester before and his ranch. And so Dale's like, you got to call your Uncle Chester and see if you have turkeys. And I'm like, well, I don't really care about shooting turkeys. I want to kill bears. And so I took and figured, well, I'll take so then I was talking to Dale. I'm like, dude, we got to go spring bear hunting. And I think this was 4 years ago. And, and then one day he texted me a picture of him with a bear. And I'm like, dude, I thought you said you couldn't bear hunt this weekend because you were busy. And he said, no, I just didn't want to bear hunt with you because you wouldn't call your Uncle Chester to go turkey hunting. So I was like, well, that sucks. And so the next spring rolls around, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go turkey hunting. Well, Dale works in construction. He fell off the second story of a house and
Ooh,
shattered both ankles and was bedridden for 4 months.
good grief.
So that's when I kind of went and tried to turkey hunt myself to kind of figure it out, and it didn't really happen. So then 3 years ago, my first real experience turkey hunting, Dale was healed up, and I said, okay, let's go turkey hunting. So we went to eastern Montana, um, and my Uncle Chester didn't really want to shoot in his yard birds, so we didn't really end up down in his neck of the woods. But we had we had lined up some other areas in eastern Montana. And so like our first day we go down there, we got all this block management that I took and called and got all these maps and everything else. And man, just kept on going to places and they didn't have turkeys or they were booked up or whatever. Well, finally we're driving down the road and we see some turkeys and we're like, and we look on X and sure enough, it's block management, but it's a permission. You know, you have to get permission, like a type 2, I think you have to get permission prior to shooting, not just an open sign in box.
Yeah.
So we took and spent a couple hours finding the landowner. And we said, okay, hey man, we saw you had some turkeys down here. Do you mind if we go shoot them? Well, now in eastern Montana, what you got to do is you got to chisel out 45 minutes to talk to a landowner, because you want permission, and they're just excited to visit with people. And especially if you got some relatives down there, you throw them a little low hanging fruit. You make sure you get your jetter plates off. I mean, we've kind of had this conversation before, you know. You find out who Tim is down the road, and then you find out that they're married to Tim's daughter, and then when you go talk to Tim, you talk to their son-in-law, and they put I mean, you just kind of network and kind of put the whole everything together, and maybe we could do an episode on how to hunt private land, since everybody goes off how to hunt public land. And I can tell you some of my secrets, but maybe I don't want competition.
I think so. I think that's a brilliant idea. I just had a guy the other day on Facebook. So on Montana hunting forums, if you're not on them, go on them, and you'll see this all the time. And I'm sure it's in a bunch of states, but with Montana being where we're at now, man, you see people get eaten alive, like asking the wrong way on a public forum, you know, for basically like, hey, give me a GPS coordinate of where I can shoot an elk or whatever the case is.
Right.
And so the other day, I actually almost like, I don't spend a ton of time on social media, and it's very much
I saw you said that. You're like, this
you
is
saw it too, yeah.
Example of how to ask to take and figure out how to hunt. Like a guy was looking like to want to shoot coyotes or something, right?
Yeah.
Well,
he wanted a predator hunt and he wanted a shed hunt or something, but he got on there. The guy was from Arizona. He was very, very respectful. Like, in my opinion, he got on there.
Yeah.
He basically laid out, hey guys, I'm up in wherever Montana for work for a while. I'm going to be stationed here for X amount of months or whatever the case is for whatever his job was. And, in general, here's the activities I enjoy down where I'm at. I'm looking to possibly get into that up there. And by the way, two of probably the most least invasive questions you could ask is, where can I predator hunt? And shed hunting might be a little bit more like secretive, but I don't know. I don't do it enough to know. But either way, like two things that are very like non-controversial, I guess I would say, right? So he gets in there and he asked, in my opinion, it was a very good way to ask. So I just commented and said, hey man, by the way, if you're not from Montana and you're looking for areas to hunt, like take notes from this guy. Like he did a very good job of how to ask. Like, and by the way, if you look at his comment stream, it was a ton of positive feedback. Hey, just a second here. I got brief intermission.
Okay. Pause. I'm grabbing another IPA. You might hear this when you're editing.
How's it going, guys? Just wanted to take a little bit of a break from the podcast to let you guys know what's new at lightthefireoutdoors.com. As you've heard in the podcast, we are now Blackhound Optics dealers. So go check the Blackhound Optics line out. They are awesome, awesome scopes. We finally got some chance to put some rounds through them. And man, I tell you what, glass quality is fantastic. The value you get from buying a Blackhound Optic is unbeatable. You actually get all the mounting equipment you need right in the box, plus some of the best scopes that are out there at an amazing, amazing price point. So go check them out, guys. If you're looking for a new optic, support Light the Fire Outdoors by getting yours through us, the Blackhound Optics there. All of the products they offer are listed and stocked on the website. Also, go check out the new LTFO 4-inch by 4-inch decals. Great for coolers, laptops, truck windows, anywhere you guys stick decals. You want to show off your support for Light the Fire Outdoors, veterans, conservation, and faith-based ministry. Go ahead and get yourself one of those. Get yourself 5 of those. They're going like crazy. There's a limited supply. Go ahead and get yours today. Again, guys, lightthefireoutdoors.com. Go check us out. We appreciate your support. Let's get back to the episode.
Yeah. So anyway, basically this guy, I felt like he did a good job. I commented on it, said, hey man, props to you. Anybody that's not from Montana, just pay attention to that, because in coming from my background, I mean, it is, lived in Iowa. Iowa has like I'll have to double check this, and I can probably find a stat to put in the show notes, but Iowa's got like basically like 1% of public land. It's stupid private, like, and it's to be expected. It's a bunch of farm ground. So, growing up in a state that is basically all private ground, you have to learn how to build relationships with people. A lot of times you have to work to earn your spot on a piece of ground, or your family knows somebody or whatever. There's a lot of internet networking and other things that go into it, but basically you got to learn how to build relationships to find spots to hunt if you like to hunt. It's definitely grown harder than it used to be because of all the popularity of big Iowa bucks and, yada, yada. If you're a whitetail hunter, everybody knows Iowa is one of the destination places. So now you have a lot more of outfitting and all that stuff that makes it ties up a lot more ground with dollars than it does with, hey, yeah, man, come hunt my place. You help me bale hay this year or whatever the case is. So,
right. You just hit a little secret on the head right there if people were listening too.
Well,
like right now is when you want to start taking and trying to get access. You don't go 2 days before the season. So
no, 100%. And a lot of times there's, especially Montana being a big ranching state, there's a lot of opportunity for you to kind of cut your teeth on some other, things, whether it's, branding cattle or calving or Montana is a big beef state. So you get a lot of cattle ranches and there's a lot of work to be done, especially in the spring. And I know a lot of people that's kind of what they do every year. They go out and help a rancher, and that rancher reciprocates on the back end with, hunting permission in the fall or whatever the case is. Yeah, definitely a lot of opportunity to earn your spot. But then, being in the military, we move around all the time. So then I moved to Virginia, and I was lucky to be a park ranger at the time. So I was actually interacting with the public all the time, plus my coworkers who are all locals and stuff like that. Again, you got to build these relationships. You can't just run. And hunting all over the country is a secretive kind of thing. Once you found a spot or you have a spot, like that's your spot. Like you want to protect it. I get it. But, when you're new too, there's that balance of like, well, crap, I'm on this blank canvas. Where do I go? How do I find permission? Whatever. In Montana, in my opinion, I get all the time from people I talk to about basically like, hey, where do you hunt in Montana? I was like, dude, just look at a map, get Onyx. There is so much public ground out here. It's stupid. So if you're coming, I wouldn't even bother. In my opinion, if you're coming, especially for a season, try the public ground. There's so much of it. I doubt you're going to have a bad time, especially if you're just looking to get a mule deer or something like that.
Sure.
Not trying to invite
guy gonna come people shoot a forky mule deer.
Well, whatever the case, I mean, you know what I mean.
Shoot a whitetail, not a.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. If you want a white, I've had people ask. People want to come to Montana to shoot a Montana whitetail.
I'm just saying that.
I said find the river bottoms because you will find whitetail in the river bottoms. I promise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's more whitetail than there are mule deer. And the only reason I bring that up is the mule deer are a great resource in Montana, but they're not managed for trophies.
Yes.
And
true.
You can go out and shoot what I call a 2-point, what some of you other guys will call a 4-point, or if it has brow tines, a 6-point. But basically a forked horn mule deer. So in Montana, we get a hunt deer in the rut. And those poor little guys just
hunt them in the rut with a rifle.
Right. Yes. Hunt them in the rut with a rifle, a boomstick, a big, whatever you want. So it just makes it. Yeah. I mean, those. Yeah.
Well, and you want to talk about why Iowa is known for big bucks. Archery is king until like after the rut's over. Usually, that's not saying I haven't seen bucks chasing does in December during shotgun season or whatever, but for the most part, your archers have the take of the litter the entire season until late season, and then
that's because breeding and that's how they manage it. We have some management areas for mule deer that have really good mule deer, and they 4-point or better areas and stuff like that. But that's not the majority. The majority of the public land hunting is all here you go, have fun. Shoot the first buck you see, and you get a little horned up forked horn out there who thinks you're a doe that he can breed because he doesn't know his tail from his head.
100%. And they get stupid.
They just get hammered.
Dude, I had a deer. I got film of it on the tax cam last year through my FTS. We had exactly what you're talking about, a little fork horn come up, and he came up out of a river bottom. He ended up in the same bean or wheat field we were in, like a stubble wheat field. We were two dudes standing wide open against a skyline in a wheat field. This deer sees us. He's a mule deer. And we see him. He's probably 250-ish yards out. And for the heck of it, I lay down on the ground, throw my bipod up, turn the FTS on, I'm just filming him just to get footage. I have zero interest in shooting this deer. And when I did that, he cut the distance in half at a full sprint. He sprinted towards us at a full sprint, stopped at 100 yards and watched us. Got this on film. And then he still can't figure it out. My buddy gets down on his and he's like, oh crap, this guy's going to come right up to us. And so he gets down on a knee and this deer cuts the distance in half again. He runs into 50 yards and stops. And at this point he goes, are you going to shoot him? And I'm like, I'm half tempted to, because this footage is so great. Like this deer is so stupid. It's ridiculous. And so he comes and then he cuts it. He ended up coming into like 10 yards to us just out of curiosity. And then he realized like, oh crap, this isn't what I thought it was. And then he bails. But they're funny, man. Mule deer are a whole different species for sure. But back on the to get to your turkey story again.
Okay.
The permission thing. It was curious though, because I posted that and then someone still wanted to argue with me like I was doing something wrong because I'm not from the state of Montana. I was just like, no, if you're going to ask the right way. There is a right and a wrong way to ask for permission. And I promise you 100% of the time, if you come in anywhere, I don't care where you're at, what state you're in, if you come in and basically say, hey, I'm new here, show me the way. That's not the way to ask. The way to do it is build relationships, meet people in the local community, meet guys like Jeremy, whether you have a common connection, a tactic, whatever the case is, like meet people, build a real relationship with somebody. And I promise it'll end up better for you 100% of the time than just coming in and trying to figure it out by asking a wide open question and asking for a GPS coordinate on a Facebook group. Like that's just not the way to ask.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to your turkey hunting story.
Yeah, back to my turkey hunting. So we get signed in for this turkey, and
after you found the landowner, you built a relationship with the landowner, and he said, "Great, here's my block management access option.
Here's your permission slip. Go have fun, shoot a turkey."
Yeah.
So then we head down the road. We were probably 2 or 3 miles away. Get out, spot, make sure the turkeys are still there. Now, these turkeys were probably about 3 miles off the road. They weren't close. We spotted them with binos and a spotting scope. So we put in a game plan. We take and load up our turkey hunting packs, grab our shotguns, I have my Tacticam. I even have footage. It's horrible footage because I didn't follow through. But anyways, that's here nor there. And so we start basically going. So we had this great big cow pasture, went down to a ravine, went down to a little tiny creek, which was a mad flowing whitewater river because it's spring runoff time.
Mm-hmm.
And then went up a draw that had some juniper bushes, some sagebrush, some pines and stuff like that. And we saw these 2 toms working, and there might have even been a tall cottonwood there too. I think there was a tall cottonwood. So we see these two toms up above these trees on the hillside far away. So we just grab our packs, grab some water, and start heading off, making the trek to close the distance. Now my buddy Dale was moving pretty slow because he still was having issues. I mean, this was a year since he fell off the roof, right? So he's not, or the second floor of the house. So he's not moving 100% and has trekking poles, which thank God, once we got to the creek, we needed trekking poles to cross the creek, strip down to our skivvies. It's like 70 degrees outside and we're going through ice water, fjording this creek that's flowing a ton, and then we get up close to where or get up to the bushes. We levels to see where the turkeys are. They call back to us, and so we kind of put I don't know if I think we spotted them and put this great big cottonwood in between us and them, and went up to the cottonwood tree. I snuck around the side of it, waited for the one to clear, shot it. It started flopping. I yelled, hooted and hollered, stood up and was yelling kicking chicken and standing right in front of my buddy Dale, who was kind of frustrated because he wanted to try and shoot the other turkey. And so that was my first turkey. of the trip. Now in Montana, you can get multiple turkey tags. You can get a general turkey tag and then a region specific turkey tag in some of the regions. And I think you can get up to like 7 or 8 turkey tags in the state of Montana. So a couple days later, or the next day, I think, we took and got on another farmer's piece of property, walked this ravine that was supposed to have turkeys. It didn't produce anything. Spotted above some cows, down a ravine, some, 20 or 30 birds with 4 or 5 toms walking in it. So we beat feet down the creek bottom in the trees, got on the inside of the bank. We stood there. It was a real steep bank, maybe 7 or 8 feet tall. And we could hear the turkeys gobbling and moving. We could see a group of them on the far hillside. We're kind of trying play peekaboo to take and see where they are and where the toms are and stuff. And all of a sudden the tom sticks his head up and then straight back down, maybe 10 yards away from us.
Oh wow.
So we knew at that point that they made themselves basically to the bank edge. So we did the old jump shoot mallards trick of 3, 2, 1, come up over the bank. You take the tom on the right, I take the tom on the left, and we both got a turkey out of the deal.
Heck
and
yeah.
and my buddy Dale almost doubled up, but it didn't quite happen. Of course, the one I shot started running, and so he's like, dude, you got to go get that thing. And I had no idea turkeys could run so fast. So I'm sprinting across the pasture with my shotgun, running it down, and finally catch up to it and shoot it. But yeah, so that was my first year turkey hunting in a nutshell.
That's awesome.
So now you can, I said, yeah, now you can tell us your story or tell me your thoughts or ask questions or whatever, I suppose.
Oh, I'm going to do a little bit of everything. So no, that's awesome. You had a experience like that because you basically experienced all that turkey hunting has to offer, from stalking them to making a play on them, moving on them, to just doing the old traditional stuff, kind of all wrapped into one, which is pretty cool.
Well, I didn't get like the sitting in the ground blind and calling them over to you in front of a decoy, I guess, though.
No, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it works on some birds, it doesn't work on others. So it's, I don't know, 6 in one, half dozen in the other. I get growing up in Iowa, it's a totally different ballgame. You can do, the spot and stock and the moving thing. Typically though, I mean, more hunters than not kill them out of like you said, it's out of a stationary setup or a ground blind setup. But Eastern birds are totally different than the Merriam birds we have out here in Montana. You have a mix of Merriams and Easterns actually. If you go up where like Justin Wilson up in the region 2 area, Kalispell, man, I don't know if I could honestly tell you. There was probably 2 or 3 toms I saw that were just had the jet white tips that are indicative of a Merriam, but every other bird out there was either mixed completely or Eastern. I mean, it seemed like a more predominantly Eastern bird genetic out there. And then when hunting in Eastern Montana last year, I think every bird we saw, I don't know if I could tell you if it had Eastern genetics in it at all, because it looked just like a Merriam.
Yeah, I think the only places the Easterns are in Montana is the northwest corner of the state there.
Oh, okay. So that makes total sense. I'll tell you what, though, they do have ugly, super ugly hens. I think every hen I saw had a beard on it.
Oh, okay.
The ugliest hens of anywhere in the United States happen to live in Kalispell, Montana for some reason. But yeah, no, that's an awesome hunt. And guys, you can hunt turkeys just about any way that you can imagine. I mean, jump shooting, I like that you had a jump shoot opportunity, because not a lot of people do it, but it's definitely an effective tactic if they're there.
Well, so the funny thing is, I was talking about with my dad, and this is kind of fast forwarding in a little bit, but we're going to go turkey hunting this weekend. He's never gone turkey hunting. And in fact, I had no idea he had any desire to go turkey hunting until 2 years ago, and we're loading up for this trip. And he's like, "Oh, you don't invite me along, huh?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? You want to go shoot turkeys?" He's like, because Dale and my dad and I all waterfowl together, right? So he's like, "Well, yeah, I've always wanted to shoot a turkey." I'm like, "You're kidding me. You never told me you wanted to shoot a turkey, So we were talking about that, and I was like, yeah, you just kind of go after it and spot and stalk and see if you can make it happen.
Yeah. No, and in Montana, that's a definitely, I mean, Montana is so, for the most, I mean, you get, kind of the western third of the state, I'd say, you can get into some super heavy timber situations in the mountains and stuff like that. But a lot of times it's just more open in general. 2/3 of the state is more the open flatland prairie thing. And so the thing you got to understand with turkeys in those scenarios is that they do a lot more moving than other birds have to that happen to live in more timbered areas. And it's mainly a product of just resources and roosting locations. So yeah, I mean, that's the spot and stock scenario is a real deal on Miriam's in Montana, just because you can spot them from miles off like you did, because there's nothing to look at for miles. So you get a bunch of big black dots standing on the hillside. Well, there's your turkeys. And then they're going to try to find places to roost, and they're constantly moving all day long for food and water and that kind of stuff. So that's, it's just a different style. And then you get in, the Midwest, you get a lot of broken pockets of timber. Birds need timber to roost for the most part, especially, Easterns primarily will hang out. They have a specific roost location they usually like on a property. In Montana, they might travel a few miles between roost locations. So, different 6 and 1, half dozen there, but definitely a more mobile hunting situation for sure you can get into in Montana, I feel like. But yeah, I mean, polar opposite. My first hunt was out of a ground blind, actually. So I kind of grew up, I got myself into hunting for the most part. My grandpa, I think probably what sparked me into hunting just in general, and it all happened pretty quick for me. I don't know. Growing up, my grandpa always had this like buck rack hanging over the rafters in his pole barn that he had for all of his tack gear and stuff for his horses and stuff. It always kind of just inspired me. I kind of always wondered what the story was behind it. And he told me the story one time, and it was just like this really cool, spot and stock prairie hunting for whitetail situation. And, when they very first opened the first whitetail season in Iowa, and just the adventure of it, I think is kind of what sparked that little fire in me to say, hey, this is something I'm interested in. And then basically I got myself into hunting, just watching, hunting TV shows and stuff. We happened to have cable at the time, and whenever I had control of the remote, I'd tune into hunting shows and got myself into it, and wanted to deer hunt, turkey hunt, whatever was available. And so fast forward a few years into that, I'd gotten my first few deer, first deer with a bow. And then following, I think that same season, I got my first deer with a gun in Iowa with shotgun season. And then the next year I got kind of, okay, let's expand this and let's get into turkey hunting, and didn't really know much about it other than I think it was, gosh, I wish I remember the name of the TV show. It was almost always located in Pennsylvania, whatever the show was, like Penn's Woods or something like that. But basically just racking my brain against everything they said about the hunts they went on, and tried to build all the knowledge I could. And I ended up getting really lucky. My dad actually bought a FedEx route from a guy who lived south of town. And he was a big time hunter. He hunts turkeys, deer. He had a couple 100-acre piece down near Winterset, Iowa, that he invited me. He said, hey, if you're into turkey hunting, man, spring's here. I can take you turkey hunting on my place. We got a lot of birds down there. And so I got lucky and got an invite from a guy. And he was a guy that I'd help watch his house, or watch his horses when he was gone, or he had bird dogs, so I would watch his bird dogs when he was gone. I kind of earned my ability to just have that relationship with him. And he invited me on a hunt, and we went down there. I used to merchandise for Coca-Cola. It was like one of the first jobs I had with my dad on Sundays. Sunday mornings we'd go, and he invited me to go on a weekend. It just happened to work out that Saturday I couldn't go, so Sunday was like the day. But you hunt turkeys primarily in the morning and then evening when you're doing the ground blind scenario stuff. And so I took a day off from doing that. My dad had my brother fill in for me, and we went out, got out there before light. He brought one of his buddies along who's just diehard turkey hunter. He's like a traditional bow hunter. He's one of those guys that makes his own calls. He makes his fletchings from his arrows from the turkey wings. He makes his calls out of turkey bones for turkeys. Like, just diehard guy, like super, super crazy. Actually, he's the guy that mounted my dad's deer I've got on my wall too. He did taxidermy on the side. So anyway, him, me, and Pat, the landowner, were in the blind. And we get down. I don't know anything about turkey hunting, just what I've seen on TV. And we have some decoys out about 20 yards in front of the blind sitting up against a timber line on a field edge. He's got he had like a food plot planted down there, and it was just starting to, the sprouts were just starting to pop on it. He said, I'm thinking that the birds are going to pop out down here because this is kind of the first green of the year. Popping up. They love these fresh sprouts. And honestly, I'd like to kind of keep them away from it if I can. So if they see a bird get dropped off it, maybe they'll kind of think twice before they come out here. Because he lived, I don't know, about 40 minutes away from watching the property to keep birds out of his food plot, because he's primarily a deer hunter. So anyway, I mean, it wasn't even, the sun had, basically the sky had gotten light. The sun hadn't even come up yet. Birds start gobbling like crazy behind us. And we kind of were teasing him with some soft calls and some slate calls, and he's using his wing calls and all this stuff. And birds are just going nuts. And I mean, it wasn't a 30-minute hunt that we were sitting there. It was dark. Sun comes up. Sun barely breaks the trees. All of a sudden, this full strut bird comes walking by 10 feet from the blind. And they're like, hey, get ready, man. And I'm nervous as heck, shaking. I forget to turn the safety off my gun at first. My Pat reaches up and turns the safety off. And that bird comes out full strut, walks right in front of behind the first decoy closest to us. Couldn't have been maybe 15 yards. And Pat's like, dude, if you're going to shoot him, you better shoot him. I just keep hearing him go, shoot him. Finally just pulled the trigger, and boom, he didn't even flop. He just laid there on the ground, and that was it. I mean, it was about the most traditional turkey hunt you could have, but it just happened so fast. Because normally that merchandising job took like 4 hours ish in the morning, it seemed like. And before my dad and my brother were even done doing their stores, I called him and said, hey, got my first turkey. He's like, no, you didn't. I'm like, yeah, I did. Right. I got a picture for you. So
yeah, how many times did you shoot then?
That was a single shot.
Wow.
Yeah, single shot with my dad's hand-me-down shotgun.
So what was the hand-me-down shotgun then?
It was so technically it's a New Haven 600 model. It's basically a Mossberg 500, but it was like the churched up model of it. So it had the fancier finish on the stock. It had a rounded forestock instead of like the more blocked off version that was on the standard Mossberg 500. And it had a selected choke on the end of it. So it was like the barrel at the end basically had grooves cut in it, or like slots cut in it to like where you could crimp it down. And it had a threaded, I guess basically a tapered metal threaded piece that would go over the top of those cuts, and you could screw it down, and it had markings on the top of the barrel to tell you where your like modified mark was, your cylinder mark was, your full mark was for like a choke selection. So you didn't have to like insert a choke into it. You could just, thread down or unthread the barrel cap basically, and it would, loosen or tighten the choke on it.
Okay, so it's like an integrated choke system and then the barrel then.
Yeah, exactly. Like the very first versions of that came out. So
but it's one choke for all different, or one you don't take chokes in and insert new choke tubes. You just twist it, and it either tightens it or loosens the pattern basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Okay. So did you go pattern the shotgun prior to, or you just
I did. No, yeah, we did actually. Good point. So we went out to I went out to Pat's place, and like I said, it's about 40 minutes. He had a piece of ground where he had his horses and his homestead, I guess. And he had a big pond with a big embankment back there. So every, when I went out there and I would hunt with him, he'd have me just, he wanted to see too, like, is this kid shooting straight or whatever. So I took a box of turkey loads out there and learned the lesson of how bad those can pound you. They're like Winchester 3-inch whatever turkey loads or whatever. But yeah, I mean, after 3 or 4, and that particular shotgun, I got into the trap and skeet shooting with it and stuff like that. So definitely shot it a ton growing up, but it was it was a cheek burner. It would, for however it recoiled, you'd get a bigger bruise on your cheekbone, from putting your face against the stock to line the sight up, than you would on your shoulder. It would just beat the hell out of your face. And so with a turkey load, you just magnify it from your regular trap loads.
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 or 4 times getting punched in the face, you're done. But it always shot low. I think I patterned it at like 30 yards. It had a good pattern on it, but you're gonna, if you put the bead on his head at 30 yards, your shot was hitting them just above the beard and the neck, kind of.
Oh, okay.
That's where the bulk of the pattern would hit, which was very effective. You know, you get a super heavy lead load, you know, flying down range at a bird and hits them there. They're not going far.
Right.
I don't, but yeah, I mean,
So do you think now that you shoot over the top of the turkeys then?
Like in recent history?
Yes, in recent history. Rumors have it you like to support the turkey ammo company. So I'm just wondering if maybe that happened when you switched shotguns, or did you just start getting excited, or it's the running style?
No, it wasn't until I started hunting with other people. Like, and I guess so that was like the one turkey hunt I went on growing up where I had other people with me. Every other hunt from then on out, I was solo. Like I was either by myself in a blind. So actually my first turkey I got with a bow was with Pat as well, on the same piece of property, probably 150 yards from where I shot that first one. It might have been that fall, actually. He invited me on a deer hunt, and he was out in a tree stand he liked to sit in, and he set up that same ground blind for me to sit in a ground blind in a different spot. And I had a turkey tag, and I happened to have a group of turkeys just walk out almost exactly how it played out in the first hunt. But this was a group of jakes and hens that walked out, and they walked out 5 yards in front of the blind. I had my bow with me. So with a bow, I guess maybe this is where the miss started, because I emptied, I had 4 arrows.
You start missing then.
Yes, this is where I started missing. I had 4 arrows in my quiver, maybe 5. Maybe I had 5. I remember I shot all of them but one, and I shot over the back of 3 or 4 turkeys, whatever. I had 1 arrow left, and I'm like, okay, Aaron, what the heck's going on? I know you can make this shot all day in the backyard, and these birds are like 15 yards. And by the way, for the most part, this probably doesn't happen every time, but turkeys are pretty forgiving with an arrow. If they don't really know what it was, they kind of look around at each other and like, oh, everything's good. Okay, cool. And then they go back to eating. So these birds just didn't care. I wasted 4 arrows at them. They're 15 yards from the blind. They're still eating in front of the blind after the 4th shot. They don't care. And so this time I literally I remember aiming at the knee joint with the pin I was using, aiming at the knee joint of the biggest bird in the group. And I smoked it right through the leg joint, and it came out the wing joint on the far side. So I mean, it couldn't get away, which is about as perfect of a turkey shot as you can put. And so that was my first turkey with a bow. But yes, I did miss 3 or 4 times prior to connecting on the last arrow, which was a good thing. But then after that, man, I've never had an issue with a shotgun hitting a bird on any of my solo hunts I've ever gone on. And to this day, if I go on a solo hunt, I've never missed. I get somebody with me. I don't know what changes. Clay can attest to this, where you're heading out to here this weekend. But so insert Jeff and Tara. The first time I went hunting with them, it was the first time I'd gone turkey reaping, which is a whole different style of hunt, right? You can't basically, that bird's not coming into 20 yards and strutting for you, and you can get a nice clean shot at him while he's kind of standing still. These birds are running at you. They're doing whatever they do, and you're moving too. Sometimes you're worn out because you just crawled for 100 yards on your knees, which is incredibly tough if you haven't done it before. It's just like there's a whole bunch of other things going on. And by the way, I was using Tara's 20 gauge shotgun. So I don't know. I'm sure it shoots faster, does something a little different than the shotguns I've shot. But yes, I think to answer your question, I think with her gun, I was definitely shooting over the top of the birds. Plus, when they're that close, I mean, you're throwing a quarter at them with that shot load. You know, it's not having time to spread and the whole 9. But and then fast forward to, so I shot a bird last year in Montana. It was my first year getting turkeys in Montana, so I got 3 Merriams actually, which is a great year to kick it off. I happened to draw a really hard to draw Region 4 tag, one of 20 people that drew that tag that year. And I went out and 1 shot, 1 kill on a turkey. I got a huge farm bird Merriam out here just north of town in Great Falls. And then I went out to hunt with Clay, one of our team guys out east. And I don't know, I think I brought 10 shells, and I had 1 left when I left. It was bad. I told Clay, I said, man, I'm going to hate to ask you this, but I might have to borrow some shells from you. But yeah, it was nuts, man. But it's the same thing. I mean,
so that's why he told me to bring lots of shotgun shells.
That's exactly why. Yeah. Cause now I'm the running joke of that area. Yeah. I'm sure everybody in that whole county knows about it. So
yeah, probably.
If you see a redhead guy running around hunting turkeys, watch out. So now, fast forward to this season, you're actually heading out there to go on a hunt, and you're taking your dad with you.
Yeah. Yep. So I decided that this year I'm going to take and go out there and try and get him a turkey. That's goal number one. I mean, obviously I'll have my shotgun, my tags, my decoys. I'm throwing in the ground blind. I'm just taking it all, taking the spotter LR, lots of tacticams, maybe get some fisheye video of a turkey or something, you know.
That'd be cool.
And that's kind of what my plan is. We're going to head out tomorrow and go visit Clay, and hopefully by Saturday we'll have a turkey or two down.
That'll be awesome.
And he says it shouldn't be an issue getting him on some birds. He just might be able to have to hit it. So
right.
you know.
Well, and I can attest to that. Yeah, he'll live up to that promise for sure, man. There is no shortage of birds out where he's at, and it was no fault of his at all that it took us 3 whole days to figure out how to get a bird. I mean, realistically, I mean, if I'm being honest with myself, I think I could have got a bird within, like, once we finally, so it took us a while to finally get on them. They just weren't doing, I guess, what they normally do. And it took us quite a bit of time the first morning we went out to finally locate some. But when we did locate them, I mean, they were like 50 yards off the road. I mean, they were like right there.
Okay.
And we actually parked the truck behind a bush 50 yards from the birds, parked the truck with basically a bush hiding the truck from them on a piece of
He didn't say
land.
just roll down the window and shoot?
No. So I got out and I grabbed the Reaper and everything. I get out there and I crawl around this brush pile, and they'd kind of worked out a little bit away from that. Like, they knew something was back there. They could probably hear
Right.
it. And, but they weren't super nervous. And I crawled around there with that decoy in front of me. I staked it in the ground and sat there. I got some great footage of them. And looking back on it in my head, I'm like, they're a little too far. I probably shouldn't shoot. Like, probably shouldn't.
Okay.
Not that I couldn't, like, I should not for sure, but just I'm not really sure how far they are. But looking back on it now, I'm like, I bet you with like 90% certainty, if I would have lined up on one and pulled the trigger, it would have dropped. Like, they were definitely within shotgun range. I just didn't do it because I was like,
Well, it probably wasn't worse than your next encounter, or couldn't have been worse.
No, definitely not, man. Good grief. No, my next, so actually we followed the same group of birds. We followed them up and over the ridge. I actually found a nice 5-point whitetail shed, a really nice one. Crawling over the hill. We just kind of kept creeping behind them. We were probably 300 yards or so behind the birds. We just kind of watched them crest one hill, and then we crest the hill between us and them, and we're slowly following and trying to figure out where they wanted to go. And then when we finally did, they end up in this big CRP field, or like a little pasture, I guess, on a hilltop. And so we crept clear down in the bottom with a hedgerow basically between us and them. And then he stayed way back and was kind of calling, and I end up going, 200 yards or so up this hedgerow to get close. And I actually had a reap going very, very well. I popped around this corner. There was like 2 or 3 cuts in this thing where the turkeys would have had to have crossed, because they're going to take the
So
path.
let me pause real quick. You want to explain to our users what a turkey reap is?
Yeah. So for turkey reaping, if you don't know, it's basically a method of hunting where you utilize a decoy and you move that, you are the decoy, basically, is probably the best way to describe it. So a turkey reaper decoy is basically just a head, like a fake turkey head and a fan that you use to kind of crawl behind and make that bird think that you're a tom at full strut, like threatening his dominance, basically, is the goal. Like, you're trying to make whatever bird you're going after, and it's almost always a spot and stock situation. You want to know where that bird is so you can make a play on him, and you kind of want to keep some terrain or some shrubs or whatever between you and him where he can't see you. And then once you get to a point, like a hill is almost the best way. You want to have this decoy in front of you. So basically, again, a bright red head and a turkey fan. And you want to kind of just break over a hill so that all of a sudden they see the tip of that fan kind of crest the hill. So it looks like a full strut tom kind of coming over at them, or come around a bush with it or whatever. So they kind of catch a small glimpse of it. And then you kind of just start, at that point, you react to what the bird you're hunting is doing. So there's a few things that'll happen. Either A, the bird's ready to fight. He'll see you. He thinks it's a full strut tom coming, and he's the man in this area, and he'll come just sprinting into you like as fast as he can. He's going to get to you and show you how big and bad he is. Some birds will be a little kind of the middle ground. They'll run a little bit and they'll stop and strut, and then you can kind of crawl towards them a little bit more, saying, hey, I'm not backing down. Then you stop, and then they're going to come running at you again, and they'll stop and strut halfway between you and them. And they kind of keep doing that until you get to a point where you can get them. And then there's birds that'll just, they might just have zero interest. Like, hey, I'm content with the hens I have or whatever, or they'll be scared of you because they've already gotten their butt kicked and they'll run away. So basically you're hiding behind a fan that makes them think that they're getting their dominance questioned by a full strut tom is the goal. So with this turkey reaper, I've got a decoy I'm holding in front of me this whole time. Shotguns, down by the side, and I'm working up this hedgerow. And every time I can kind of peek through that hedgerow to see where the birds, all I can see is really some like fan feathers and stuff up on top of the CRP grass. So I know they're still there. I get up there and I end up, it's rumored that, and I guess in my experience, I would definitely agree with it from what I experienced with reapers, that Merriams are less aggressive than an Eastern turkey. So just different species. But for whatever reason, whenever I had that reaper decoy, the birds just showed like zero interest. They weren't really scared of it, but they weren't responding to it. They're like, there's another turkey. Who cares? I'm not going to mess with it. But I had one bird in this situation. I got up top of the hill and I got to a spot. I was probably 100 yards from the birds or so. And I got in this little gap where like basically a walkway through this hedgerow that I'm sure the birds use all the time. I popped out into that little opening, and a tom up on top happened to see me, and he very, very slowly made his way down the hill. He never really broke strut. I got some good footage of this too. They'll have to get put together in a video. He was making his way really slow, really cautiously, hey, I'm probably better than you, but I don't really want to get in a fight. You could just kind of tell he was. So basically I was just waiting for him to get close, but I was stuck in the open. So I'm standing upright. I have the turkey and decoy in front of me, my gun down to my side in one hand, like not an ideal situation. I can't line the sights up on the bird or whatever. And anyway, he eventually, these jakes that were with him, it was pretty comical. These jakes that are with him, he's got 4 or 5 jakes up there with the rest of the hens. They see him almost down to, he was almost into shooting distance. Like I was in my mind, I'm saying, okay, like how much further do I let him come before I just literally drop the decoy, pull the gun up and go for it. And he's doing it. And all of a sudden I see his head lift up, and I thought he saw me. So in my head, now it changes my game plan. I'm like, oh crap. Like he's about to get out of here. Like he knows I'm not a turkey now, which was the wrong decision. I should have let him keep coming. Well, so I pull the gun up, drop the decoy. Well, then he definitely knows I'm not a turkey. So he starts running the other way. I line up on him, and then out of the corner of my eye, I see like 4 jakes. They're sprinting down the hill because they think they're about to witness a fight. I think they were like ready to rock because they were in the big group. They're all big and bad and tough because they were in a group. And then they realized what I was. And then at that point, they were just too far. I cracked a shot or two. I don't remember how many. I think I shot twice at the big tom, and he just ducked his head and kept running. I didn't even touch him. But
do you shoot jakes, to interrupt you quick?
So that's, you said you can get multiple tags in Montana. I think I did. I shot twice. I shot once at the tom. He was way too far. It was just stupid. I shouldn't have shot. And then, and that gun, I did verify later that gun does shoot high. So I'm sure I was shooting over those birds, but, and then I end up lining up on one of the jakes. I saw a beard poking out, and I was like, okay, screw it. I'll go for him. And I turned and I shot once and definitely missed. But they all took off running over the hill, and the rest was history for them getting away. But yeah, so in Montana, you get your general tag, basically good statewide with the exception of Region 4 and non-turkey hunting areas. So for me, it was more about just getting my first Merriam. So I was like, yeah, I mean, if it was a legal turkey, I was going to try getting it. I didn't really have a preference. And then if I had the opportunity to get a second bird, I would definitely be like, okay, let's get a mature tom at this point.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't have a preference.
There just seems to be like an elitist group that thinks that you should only kill toms and not jakes. And
dude, I'm like, I'm
a rookie, right? I'm a new, I'm a kill anything type of guy. So, if I have a jake and a tom, I'm going to shoot the tom, but
no, go for the first bird, man. If you got if it's legal, take it. I was my philosophy on hunting is if you have a tag in your pocket, it's good, for whatever you're hunting, and you have an opportunity. If it is something you'd be happy to take home, just go for it. Like, I think it's all personal preference. If you're, a guy that only thinks you should shoot toms, I think that's your personal opinion, but don't tell me I should only shoot toms, because if I want to.
But is a jake like that too? Is a jake like that 2-point mule deer buck that we were talking about earlier?
I think it's not different. No, it shouldn't be different, but I think it is a
Okay.
little different with a deer or any big game species, because in my opinion, what a turkey lives, like 4 years or 5 years at best, probably, in most typical, wild game situations. So you get a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old turkey, that's a Jake. I mean, he's lived out half his lifespan already. Right. So if I see that's kind of my thought process on I just like eating turkeys, man. So if I have tags in my pocket and it's a legal turkey and I'm getting, the beard's cool, the fan is cool, the spurs are cool, but the meat is my prime target on a turkey. I mean, they're so good. They're such a crowd pleaser. If you have family or friends over, like, you can't go wrong cooking turkey nuggets for anybody. Like, they'll love it. So to me, it's easy meat. It's good meat. That's priority number one. Now on a deer,
Okay. Just
if it's
because I won't shoot a fork and horn mule deer,
Yeah.
Well, I'll shoot a doe before
either.
I shoot a small buck.
Right. And I think in most cases, I would 100% agree with that. But I think
even the buck that I shot this year, which was a mature 4-point or 8-point whitetail buck.
Yeah.
It was 130-inch deer, but he was heavier. He was definitely larger body sized.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't have my kids with me, I wouldn't have shot it. But since I have my boys with me, I'm like, hey, let's shoot a buck,
Yeah.
But normally that's a buck that I eat my buck tag more than I don't necessarily eat my buck tag. I put my buck tag on a doe more often than not.
Right. If I'm paying for a tag, I want to fill it. Like, that's just the long and short of it. Now, this year, actually, last year was the first year I kind of ran into that situation of, dude, there's just zero logical reason why it would be responsible for me to fill some other tags. So, like, when we went to New Mexico and got those elk, that was a very good eye opener for me. I was like, oh crap, I've never seen a freezer that full of meat in my life. And so, but I had, and I still had opportunity to go use my Montana elk tags for shoulder seasons. And I said, no, that's the first time I've been like, no, there's zero reason that I need to go kill another animal.
That's why I told you didn't need 18 elk tags.
I was looking at an opportunity at that point. I'm like, if I have this many reasons to go, I'm not going to not get one this year. Like, I've got to figure this out. Right. Like, that was my philosophy. But even in Montana, if I would have got one, a cow or bull or otherwise, I would have ran into the same scenario. I would have got home, taken care of it, got everything butchered up, and been like, holy crap, I don't need any more meat for a year. Like, this is ridiculous.
Right.
So I would have ran into the same scenario regardless of where it was at. But yeah, this year, I mean, I have zero intention on buying a B tag. I'll just keep I got a general elk and a general deer tag. And honestly, that's all I'll probably need. I do enjoy, I like going out and like doing different types of hunts. So I'll probably apply for some, like region specific B tags for maybe mule deer doe, or definitely whitetail doe, because there's a couple spots here I just like to hunt just because I enjoy hunting there more than anything. And I know we'll go through it, and we got started meeting enough people now that there's a lot of people that I know around here on base or whatever that they don't hunt, but they enjoy eating the meat. So now I've got an outlet for it too, where I could maybe do some or give plenty of it away to where I'm not worried about over harvesting anything. But yeah, I definitely don't need to buy multiple elk tags or multiple deer tags, but turkeys. So again, region 7 is a spot where you can shoot more than one. And then last year, before I got the region 4 Miriam, but still having 2 tags left to fill, it's anything goes. Like, I'm not going to hold out unless it's obviously can't shoot a hen, but if it's a legal male bird.
Right. Except for in the fall, you can shoot a hen.
Yeah. In the fall, I wasn't planning on waiting for the fall though, because in fall, turkey's an afterthought. Like,
right. Except for we ran into turkeys when we were deer hunting this year. So,
you guys did?
Yeah. Dale shot a couple of turkeys on Uncle
cool.
Chester's
Where at?
place.
I guess I'm not going to tell you to tell that on a podcast. Just curious. So afterwards, we'll
Uncle Chester's ranch. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So
yeah. The private ground birds.
Private ground birds.
No, that's cool, man.
There's too many of these guys hunting public land. I'm going all private. Private.
Dude, get after it. Utilize that Montana native privilege, dude. Do it.
Exactly.
Get all over it.
Right.
You got more swagger going for you than anybody.
Montana native in the bumper sticker in the window.
That's it, man. Absolutely. No,
I no longer live in Bozeman, so I don't have to say I'm from Bozeman. That helps a lot too,
Well,
I
it's
mean,
not. It won't be Bozeman anymore. They're gonna have to rename it here soon.
Los Angeles.
Yeah,
They did.
for sure.
And I said that having grown up most of my life in Los Angeles,
That's
Well, it
awesome.
used to be Bozeman, but now, yeah, it's terrible. Anyways.
No, even this year, I haven't got a bear yet. So, you talked about your bear hunting stuff being more important to you, when you first got into turkeys. Like this year is I love turkey hunting. It's so much fun. I enjoy it. It's like one of those hunts. There's like almost no pressure on it. It just go out and try, get after them, try to find birds. Once you find birds, it's fun to chase them. And, they got a pea-sized brain. So, I mean, really you can kind of mess them a little bit, but they're going to be on the same area typically more, time, day after day, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, I talked to my buddy Dale, because he's going to Eastern Montana this weekend turkey hunting, and maybe that's more than I should have said. But anyways, we were talking and seeing if maybe we were going to run into each other. And he and his dad are actually going to where I shot my first turkey.
Oh,
where
cool.
Dale's dad shot his first turkey last year.
Okay.
And so yeah, he's going there. So it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, but it's like that same field is produced 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it produces, when we get
and more often than
we'll have to see if it produced 3 years in a row.
For sure. Well, and I'll tell you straight up, in Iowa, where I grew up, I had a hunt. What's the property? Like 100 and it doesn't really matter how big it is, but I want to say it's like 160 acres of ground to hunt. And that was deer and turkey, basically. I mean, the only two things basically. They had some pheasants on it, but I never hunted pheasants on there. But anyway, once I figured that, and I'll tell you how I figured it out too. So I worked for, prior to working for Tacticam, I was a park ranger, and that was always my goal, like get into park ranger, game warden, fisheries, stuff like that. That was always like my career path I wanted to get into. So when I first graduated high school, I had an opportunity to apply for, and I actually got a slot for a fisheries job. And I was working for a fisheries department out of, it was Cold Springs Fish Hatchery was the location I worked out of, the headquarters where I worked out of. But I would travel around to different lakes and within that district of the state, and monitor boats going in and out of the water, and interview boaters and ask, tell them to check their boats for mussels and invasive water species, plants, and things like that. So anyway, long story short is the biologist that was the head of that region worked out of that office that I worked out of. He was like my boss basically. And anyway, one day I caught him in there after getting ready to wrap up for the day and head home. And he always had this huge, just 2-inch spurs, like triple beard turkey mounted in the corner of his office. Just great specimen of a bird. And I was talking to him, I was like, hey, you like turkey hunting? He said, oh, I love it. He's like, it's really the only hunting I do. Like, I live for turkey hunting. I was like, oh, no kidding. I said, that's awesome. And we got to talking, and I told him, I said, I've hunted this spot. And now, fast forward a few years, I hadn't hunted on Pat's ground for a while, and I'm kind of learning this other new patch of ground I earned permission on. And I deer hunted it several times, and I know there's birds there. I just never really tried to turkey hunt it. And I just, was telling him about it. He's like, well, bring it. If you can, get on Google Earth or whatever and go print out a map. And he said, bring your map in of the property and kind of show me the layout. He said, I probably could tell you where you should hunt if there's birds there. And I said, okay. So the next day I show up with a printed out map of the land. He takes 2 seconds. He looks at it. He said, Aaron, if I were you, I would sit here. I would sit right on top of this hill in the evenings. That's where I would hunt. He said, get out there about this time, start calling. He said, that is, if I hunted this property, it's the one place I would go. I'm like, it took him 2 seconds to figure this out off a topo map. And I'm like, okay, awesome. Sure enough, turkey season rolls around the next spring. I get out, I do a couple morning hunts because it's kind of fun, but there's a creek that runs through the middle of this property. I cannot get these birds to cross a creek in the morning, but then I get out there one afternoon, go right to where he said. I pick the biggest tree on that hilltop. I sit, it's in a patch of timber, and I sit up against it, and I set a decoy out, I don't know, 10 yards or so in front of me on the ground. And I start clucking on a call, and I don't hear anything. About an hour goes by, and about 2 hours before sunset, I guess, and I get my first gobble. And I was like, okay. So then I start, I start messing with him, and I'm just talking back and forth with him. He's gobbling. Every gobble is getting closer and closer and closer. It takes him about an hour to get to me. Sure enough, Bird pops up right over the top of the hill. My shotgun bead's sitting there waiting for him. I smoke him right over the top of the hill. And
I thought you were going to say you shot high.
no, that gun shoots lower, remember?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Maybe you should go back to shooting turkeys with that gun.
I have the barrel sitting here. I need to just throw the barrel on the gun. Actually, I turned it into a deer gun because it shoots the slugs. I found that the rifled barrel I bought for it shoots them so well. I decided that's my deer gun. I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna go just buy a Mossberg 500 for a bird gun. Is basically how I've done it now. But anyway,
Okay.
and so then every year after that, I didn't even mess with hunting. Every single year, I killed 4 birds, I think, off the top of that hill, sitting against that same tree, same exact scenario. The birds might come in from a different direction every time, but literally one hill, one tree, they just wanted to be there, and I was there to meet them every time. It was insane.
So did you ask this guy why he picked that spot on that map?
I did, yeah. And so basically in this layout, and I've, well, in Montana, this to be true as well. Basically, the couple of things you need to think about with turkeys in general. They love water. They need water. They want to be around water. So if you're looking at a spot and there's birds in the area, if you can find water, you're probably going to figure out it'll cut your learning curve in half if you figure out where the water is at in the area, whether it's a river bottom, creek bottom, pond, whatever. They like water. So there was a creek that ran through this property, and this was the steepest. So basically what he looked for was the steepest terrain drop off to that creek with the highest, elevation on that property. And
Okay.
and then I think he asked me too, he said, do you know like the types of trees that are up there? I said, there's a couple oak trees. There's some ash trees in there. There's some hickory trees. Okay. He's like, if there's acorn trees there, or trees that drop acorns, he said, this is a gold mine, just sit there. And if there wasn't, he said, there's probably some other ways in the area and they'll probably want to roost there regardless. But as long as there's a food source close that kind of gets them milling around, they're eating their way back to the roost every day. They like to roost over water, was his kind of philosophy. Plus there's food. So it's an added bonus.
Okay.
So that was really
so
it.
You were getting them going back to their roost at nighttime
That's exactly right. Yep. And so, but in Montana, that's different. In Clay's property was a great example. The property we hunted, for the first few days out there, we basically pounded this one piece of ground the whole time because the birds were there, but they were wandering. They'd be a mile in any one direction from where you saw them the previous day, every day. So it's like you weren't finding them in the same spot. Where in Iowa, I could tell you they're going to roost in one of 2 locations on this property. If they're not here, they're there. And if they're not there, they're here. And you can call them from one location to the other if you're there at night, because they're like, oh, hey, there's birds over there. Let's go hang out over there tonight. And they don't care. They're going 100 and some, yards across the field to figure that out. Where here, it's like those birds would just wander over hilltops and roost basically where they ended up for the day. And then the next day they'd fly down and they'd wander to the whole other side of the, the block and the mile section or whatever. And they might be roosted over there that day. So one night we did roost a couple birds and we set up on them on a more, actually the last morning we set up on them like a more of a traditional hunt. And by traditional, I mean the ground blind, decoys, the whole 9, up on a hilltop above the roosting location. They were roosted in a creek bottom and some cottonwood trees. And we watched them fly down and they had zero interest in coming and seeing us. They knew we were up there. They just didn't care. They're like, no, we're going to go wherever we want to go.
So, yeah, no, I heard you got in the blind like 3 hours before it happened and then they went the other direction. So,
yep. And I don't think Clay's ever hunted turkeys like that. He's used to driving around until he sees them and then get after him. He's like, why are we doing this, man?
Okay.
Now, he was all for it, but I don't think it was his preferred method of turkey hunting, because he told me the same thing. I don't know if I've ever gotten up that early to get a bird or not.
Perfect. Well, it sounds like my dad and Clay will get along just fine.
Oh yeah. No, Clay's a heck of a guy, man. He's a too.
Yeah. So,
no, I'm excited for you guys. Hopefully you get out there and you both get smacked up. So did you buy a Region 7 specific tag? Because I had 2 tags when I went out there. I had my general plus my
I will have 2 tags when I go out there. I haven't gone and bought my tags yet.
Okay. Yeah, I bought one this year hoping I would maybe go, but I had my head on bear season. I'm like, you know what? I probably got to put my eggs in my bear basket this year just to make sure I dedicate enough time to it to get after them. And but I'll tell you what, we've gotten
18 feet of snow still in the mountains.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, it's bear opener is here. What, this weekend?
Today. today.
Today. Okay. Well, even better. But yeah, out here, man, in anywhere I would go to bear hunt, we get 2 inches. Right now it just melted off, but
Yeah,
we
it just
had,
doesn't even feel like bear season right
no,
now.
not even close. It's like,
You
it's
know?
cold out. Every other day we're getting snow. So basically it melts off and then it snows another inch or two. Then it melts off and snows. But up in the high country, you're getting 3 times as much snow. So it's just packing in there.
Yeah.
It's not time to go bear hunting yet. So yeah, now I'm refocusing on turkeys. I bought my 2 turkey tags, general and region 7, and see what happens. And by the way, if you think you're going to dial in on a region 7 area, it's like half the state. So good luck. It's big.
Yep.
I feel like we have to disclaimer that now. I don't know why.
Disclaimer what?
Well, like you're giving a hint on somebody where you're going, but it's like, I'm not telling you.
I'm hunting private land. Region 7 is 99% private land. So, I mean, heck,
and it's
whatever.
gigantic.
I mean, if people watch other people's YouTube channel, they get a lot more information than that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's why I said we have. I think we have one active listener.
You can bleep it. What you should do is when you edit that, you should bleep out region 7. You can leave region there and then just leave the beep. whole podcast, so it just goes region beep, region beep.
Beep, 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 beep. Yeah.
Oh no.
We should. But no, awesome, man. I'm stoked for you guys. I hope the next couple of days we get some pictures coming in from you guys smacking some birds, and I know you're gonna have a good time with Clay. I tell you what, dude, if he makes you his he'd planned it out because he thought you were coming. Last time you and I were going to go out together, and it didn't work out for you to be there. But so he already had some mule deer roast made out, and dude, he can make a mule deer roast. It was good.
Oh really?
Oh my gosh!
I told him I was buying him dinner, so maybe I messed up.
I fully expected to buy him dinner, and when I got there, dude, he had it loaded up. I was like, holy crap!
Huh?
He was ready to rock, man. He was there, and no, you're going to have a lot of fun. We see a lot of cool country, and hopefully you guys, I know you're going to see a lot of birds. I just hope you get on them quick and smack them. And you can,
I hope I can, I fully intend on tagging you on every Tacticam page, regional page, and say, wish you were here, Red Ranger.
Well, good. Good.
I might even do it on the public page too. LTFO page. It'll
it.
Definitely be on there. I'll be like, this was Aaron Stonehawker's.
I'm gonna cry too because I'm
turkey. This was Aaron's turkey that he couldn't miss because he wasn't here.
Well, hopefully you guys just tee them up for me and you kind of get them. I think they need to be a little bit smarter by the time I get out there.
Yeah, we'll educate.
Clearly more experience
for you.
Yeah. I mean,
so one quick question, rolling back to pattern shotguns real quick before we wrap this up. So I went and patterned shotguns last week.
Okay. And
2 years ago I didn't pattern shotguns. But I figured, hey, it's a good time to get out to the shooting range with my dad, and I like to shoot. So anytime's better. And so we went through and we kind of patterned our guns, and I shot 6 or 8 different loads of turkey loads or brands. And I came to the conclusion that I now know which one kicks the hardest. But as far as pattern, I think that's just like a marketing scam.
It is. It's a, hey, I think shoot a few more of these shells.
Go out and shoot a few more of these $5 shells that you can't find right now because you can't find any shells, and see if your gun patterns. And it's like there might have been 1 or 2 pellet difference in all 6 of the loads that I shot. You know,
I agree.
And so then my dad, he takes and he goes out, and so I have him shoot some of my turkey loads. Because he bought some turkey loads and he did that. But then he also was talking to a guy at his church, and the guy at his church is like, it told him, don't even go shoot, don't buy turkey loads. He says they're overpriced.
100%.
And they're small shot and they don't break bones. He says, what you want is you want your 3.5-inch BB goose loads that you shoot geese with, because BBs will break bones.
Yeah.
And so we patterned 3.5-inch BB. And I think that you might have got 1 or 2 less pellets in the turkey's head, but they're way bigger pellets. So my dad's going to roll with his BBs. So we'll have a report on the next podcast if BBs or if the turkey loads work better. So.
Yeah. I mean, and it's I just had this conversation with a guy on one of the dealers I was talking to today about turkeys and stuff out of Arizona. He's going on, actually, I don't know if this is his first turkey hunt, but he's very new to it if he's not. And he said, man, he's like, I went to the store the other day and they had a box of 5 shells for like $50. I said, yeah, dude. I said, it's not worth it. I said, if you can find a box of shells, I don't honestly don't even care what if it's lead. It's more dependent on how far that bird is from you and what your comfort distance is as far as like kind of what you would trust for your gun. Now, if you're shooting a pheasant load, don't shoot a turkey any further than you'd shoot a pheasant, because if you can put enough pellets on a pheasant to kill it, you can put enough pellets on a turkey to kill it.
Yeah, but you get a ground sluice them. You're not shooting them in the wings, so that's like good for another 10, 15 yards.
Well, that's my point. So it doesn't matter what you throw at them. And I learned that lesson exactly the same exact scenario you are, because when I first got into waterfowl, I just didn't even think about it, in my head. Normally I would have went and grabbed a turkey choke or a modified choke or whatever and grabbed my box of turkey loads to go turkey hunting. And I actually just threw my shotgun in the vehicle the night before I went out on a fall turkey hunt to go sit on that same hill and do the same thing I've done, in years past. And I had a bird come up, and it was actually a longer shot than what I was used to taking, but it's just the way it worked out. He popped up in front of me at like 5 feet, but I was sitting I had 2 hen turkeys. I could have reached out and grabbed both their necks. They were eating like that close to me on the ground. And I had my gun, sitting between my knees facing one direction. When I look over out of the corner of my eye, there's a tom standing there, barely crested the hill, just watching those. I think he could see the glimmer off my gun or something, off like the shine off the barrel. Yeah. But he knew those hens were there. So he was like skeptical, but he was probably 5 yards, just not very far at all. But I couldn't move. I was like locked down. Well, he ends up dropping below the hill. At that point, I'm like, well, if I spook the, hens, whatever, I'll do a couple calls, see if I can drag him back over. So I grabbed my gun, I put it up on my knee to like get in a shooting position. And he comes around the hill and he's standing like 30 yards between 2 trees. And I actually, with one hand, kind of crutched the gun, but I had the way it worked out, I only had one hand on the gun. I shot him, but like at 30 yards with a steel load, because I just didn't change my choke. I had steel shot in there, like some black cloud or whatever I was using for waterfowling. I just got into waterfowling that year before, and it worked great. Just smacked him, put him right on the ground, just like any other load I would have. And I was like, holy crap. That, by the way, was the furthest shot I've ever put on a turkey too. And I had like a long range black cloud choke in there. And I was like, well, shoot, if that works just as good.
I'm the sucker that's got the $200 pattern master for shooting geese.
I wouldn't argue.
And I went out and bought the $200 heavy shot choke and the $50 or $60 around.
I wouldn't knock anybody.
A box heavy shot.
Not a chance. I wouldn't knock anybody for doing that. Not at all. But at the same time, do I think it's needed? Absolutely not. Guys, if you're of the opinion that you need that to go kill a turkey, I'd say you're a fool. If you're into that and you want your gun to perform at its absolute best level, and you find the right $200 choke and the right box of $70 5-pack of shot shells that just work phenomenal and punch a slug size hole through a bird at 75 yards. If your gun can do that, dude, by all means, get into it. I don't care. You're going to kill a bird way further than I ever will. But do I think it's needed? Absolutely not. I'd just as soon leave my one bird gun I have in the same configuration year round and hunt whatever the heck I want with it.
Well, seeing what I saw here recently, last week, I don't know that it was worth the money, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah. And you actually took the time to go pattern. See, I used to I'd draw like a turkey shaped head and neck on a piece of paper, draw a circle around it, and go throw it out at 30 yards on a cardboard box and shoot at it. And just, hey, if I put more than 5 pellets in his head and neck, I was like, okay, that's enough to kill him. Like that's right. All I did. Now, usually like it was always the one gun always shot low. So you get a really dense pattern down like lower neck or whatever, which was more than enough to kill a bird. But on this other stuff, I mean, it seems like you only get about 20, 30 pellets at best in that kill range, no matter what shot size you use or whatever. But that's what the guy told me with that dealer today. I said, he goes, man, I couldn't believe like the guy was pitching me at wherever shop he was at. He said, the guy was pitching me on like 9-shot. He's like, you believe? I was like, well, I said, when you get in these tungsten loads and stuff, man, the shot size is like going down for birds, but your effective range is going up. So it's like, it's kind of just it's a changing philosophy. It's like you were telling me I'm throwing a 1930s bullet down my,
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
technology gun that, you got bullets that'll fly way better than what I'm throwing down there, so why are you not maxing out the performance of what your gun can do just from a bullet choice? I mean, it's the technology is going up and everything, and things are getting more effective. So, but do I think it's worth $70 or $50 a box? Heck no, dude. You're never going to see me shooting that ever.
Right.
Just the shot shells. Now I'll spend some money on a choke if I think it's, better or whatever. I think I bought a 3-pack of Carlson's a while back. I've got a mid, and they're all turkey loads or turkey chokes for my Mossberg 935 I have now. I've got a close range, mid range, and an extended range or something. And I threw some super old Winchester Super X turkey loads I bought probably when I was 16, threw them and killed 3 birds last year with them, at the end of the day. So
19 shots, but you got them.
Well, hey, again, the solo bird took 1 shot, man, 1 and done. He didn't even flinch. And then when I shot the double, so at the end of that whole rig 'em and roll hunt with Clay, and literally an hour before I was going to go home, we end up doubling on 1. It was 2 shots, boom, 1 dead, and the next bird came running over, boom, shoot him dead. I mean, I just needed some pressure on me. I think I had way too much time. I've never gone on a multiple day.
Right.
That was it.
So yeah, you knew how much time you had to be there, so why get done early?
Exactly. What you guys didn't know is I loaded a bunch of blank shells. I didn't know which ones had shot in them and which ones didn't. I just got lucky at the end. They both had shot in them.
Hey, I'm not saying, I've got my whole extension tube and everything, so I can load 7 or 8 shells in there. That way I don't have to carry extra. That's kind of my thought.
There you go. Well, that's another thing.
Trigger.
See, I'm a glutton for punishment. I had my like I told you, I don't reconfigure my gun. I just had the they might actually be steel shot chokes. Anyway, I had they're for steel shot, the chokes that I bought. So anyway, whatever choke I had in there from the duck season before is what I took out to Clay's. So that means I had my duck plug in it too. I've never taken the duck plug out of my gun, so
Oh, okay.
You're making it way too easy on yourself if you're asking me.
Yeah.
But well, cool, man. Well, yeah, get after it. I hope to see some pictures and hopefully get some video and stuff. We can edit it up and put another turkey video up. I'm going to try to get a turkey video edited tonight from last year's season on my end.
Okay. I'll have the Tacticams rolling, whether or not I actually get it edited. I mean, I need to do that. I need to take and like you said, just chisel out some time in my schedule to take and edit videos and write it in and make it happen.
That's what I'm starting to do now. So to you listeners, at least one night a week, I'm dedicating to video editing so we can get some of this pile of video footage out there, get some more content generating. Got another couple podcast ideas too. I want to run by Jeremy and John, see if we might do something a little different. But this podcast isn't going anywhere, but I have an idea for starting another one kind of in a whole different area, but
oh boy,
might be kind of cool. So
cool.
But yeah, man, we'll go kill some turkeys, and I'm going to try to get a couple videos in the meantime. So while we're all waiting on you to start the pictures rolling in of your birds, we'll hopefully have a couple videos to watch in the meantime.
Alrighty, sounds good.
Alrighty, brother. Well, take care of yourself. Drive safe out there, and looking forward to seeing some pictures.
Alrighty, you have a good one.
All right, man. We'll see you. Bye.
All right, bye.
There you have it, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the Praying and Slaying podcast today. If you find what we do entertaining, please go to whatever platform you listen to the Praying and Slaying podcast on and give us a 5-star review. Also help us out by checking out our content at lightthefireoutdoors.com. All kinds of great stuff there, videos, blog entries, obviously all the Praying and Slaying episodes. And you can also check us out at Facebook and Instagram at lightthefireoutdoors.com. Thanks again, guys. We'll catch you in the next one, and keep praying and slaying.